What's up, friends? Welcome to Mom's Dinner. My name is Susie Weinrich. I can't wait to make this recipe. We're gonna make a chicken noodle soup that is so hearty. It's made with these frozen egg noodles that are so good. This is not chicken noodle soup that's gonna turn out like dirty water. It is chock full of flavor and texture. You're absolutely gonna love it. I always think if there's one recipe that I could win a contest with, it is this chicken noodle soup recipe. Stick around, you're gonna learn how to make it. All right, we're making chicken noodle soup, so we need chicken. I had some split chicken breasts in the freezer. I thawed them out, and then I roasted them in the oven. It's gonna be perfect. You can use a mix of white meat and dark meat. I just happen to have all white meat. I put a little olive oil on these split chicken breasts, put a little kosher salt, black pepper, roasted them in the oven, 400 degrees for, I don't know, it was like 25 minutes. Perfect until they reach about 165 degrees internal temperature. And then I'm gonna shred this up. We'll set it aside for the chicken noodle soup. Rotisserie chicken, leftover chicken, Instant Pot chicken, anything will work in this chicken noodle soup. You just need about 3 cups of shredded chicken. I am going to take the skin off of this chicken, but it definitely added some flavor to the chicken underneath while I was baking. All right, I got that all shredded up. I definitely had some chicken left over. I did not need all of those chicken breasts. I'm gonna save that chicken. It's so good, especially with the salt and pepper on that skin. So I have this chicken all shredded up, which I love, better than a dice for the chicken noodle soup, but some of the shreds are really long. We don't have long shreds in our chicken noodle soup. So I'm gonna give it just a little cross cut, and then we'll put it in a bowl and set it to the side. And that looks amazing. All right, now it's time to get cooking. So I'm gonna turn the heat up to about medium. I've got a nice big pot because this makes a lot of chicken noodle soup. We're not starting with oil, we're starting with butter, which I absolutely love. You wanna add 4 tablespoons of salted butter down in the pot and get that melting. That's what we're gonna cook our veggies in. Speaking of veggies, we need, you need, I need, we all need 3 celery stalks, 4 like medium large sized carrots, 1 large yellow onion, and 2 garlic cloves. I'm gonna get all these chopped up. We're gonna get them sauteing in there. You want them to kind of all be roughly about the same size since they're all gonna be in the same dish. Now, carrots are usually really thick at one end and kind of skinny at the other end. I like to cut them in half. The larger end, I want to cut in half so that then all of it can kind of cook roughly about the same time. So, and if you like it diced, if you think like your kids and your family would prefer to have diced veggies, go for it. Now with the celery, I'm gonna cut the ends off, and then I'm actually going to, I have some pretty big celery stalks. So I'm actually gonna cut it down the middle so that it creates 2 smaller sized pieces. And then I'm just gonna work through that, chop that up, and get that added to the pot as well. The celery and carrots are gonna take longer than the onions, so I like to add those first before I add the onions, and definitely always add the garlic last, because while your veggies are sauteing, the garlic will burn. And if you put the garlic in a little bit later, you'll have a nice, more pronounced garlic flavor in your dish. I think I went a little thick on my veggies this time, which is totally fine. It's actually gonna be really delicious. But I am going to slightly put the lid on before I add the onions and the garlic to let these kind of steam and soften just a little bit. All right, these carrots have a good steam on, so they're starting to soften, as well as the celery. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these chopped onions in. I chopped up 1 large yellow onion. I'm gonna let that saute for just a couple minutes, and then we'll add in the garlic. Looking so good. The carrots are slightly tender soft. You don't want them to be completely mushy because we're gonna have a whole boil process after this. So let's go ahead and add in some seasonings. We're gonna add half a teaspoon of turmeric. That's gonna add a nice kind of earthy, warm flavor and brighten up the soup perfectly. I know my sister-in-law likes a lot of it, so she adds a whole teaspoon, maybe more, but you can start with a half and see where you land. You want 1 teaspoon of kosher salt and half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of onion powder. We're gonna get all of that stirred in there, and then we're gonna add our super secret soup ingredient. Better than bouillon, this is not an ad, but it's gonna look like one. Better than bouillon chicken base. If you're making soups without chicken base, you're not making soup. At least you're not making flavorful soup. This stuff is the bee's knees. We're gonna add a tablespoon, actually, yep, a tablespoon, and I'm gonna go heaping tablespoon because it adds so much flavor to your soup. Okay, we're gonna get that stirred in. Now, all of this is gonna mix with the butter and the juices from the vegetable, and it's almost gonna make like a paste on the veggies. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour because we don't want our chicken noodle soup to just be like this runny, thin chicken noodle soup. We're gonna add a little viscosity, a little weight to our chicken noodle soup. You want it to feel like a comfort food, and that's what this is gonna do. 2 tablespoons of flour added in there. We're gonna stir that in. Again, it's gonna mix with that chicken base. It's gonna mix with that butter. It's gonna mix with the seasonings and coat everything. We're gonna let this cook for about a minute. Then, we're gonna add in 2 quarts, 8 cups of chicken stock or chicken broth. Chicken stock is always gonna be more flavorful than chicken broth, but either one works here. I actually do have a chicken stock. This is from Costco. You know, I used to buy them like one at a time at the store, and then I'm like, I use chicken broth all the time. So I started buying it by the case at Costco. Game changer. All right, some of that butter and flour kind of cooked to the bottom of the pan. So what I'm gonna do is deglaze it. I'm gonna pour a little bit of this liquid into the hot pan, and that's gonna simmer on the bottom of the pot. That is going to release all of that flavor that cooked to the bottom of the pot. It is a little bit brown, but it's called fond, and it is also called flavor. All right, we've got all that scraped up, so now I'm just gonna pour in all the chicken broth. I'm actually going to whisk this a little bit because I want that flour and the butter to incorporate into the liquid. So like I said, it gives it a little weight, a little viscosity. I'm gonna add 1 bay leaf in. That gets removed at the end of the cooking time. We're gonna turn the heat up on this a little bit, bring it to a light simmer, and then it's gonna be time to add the egg noodles and the chicken. Kitchen smells incredible. Holy smokes. Look at that soup. It is not weak, thin, colorless, flavorless. It is hearty, full of vegetables, full of that shredded chicken. Look at these egg noodles. I can't wait to eat this. Now, there's one more ingredient that you can add in that is a flavor enhancer. Salt and vinegar are flavor enhancers. Pepper is a flavor changer. So I'm gonna spill in just a titch of apple cider vinegar to brighten up all those flavors. Totally optional. It's like adding citrus to something. Brings it up a notch. All right, so like I said, we want to take that bay leaf out and discard that. It's going to add flavor, but we don't eat it. Time to take a bite. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. That's just incredible. I love this soup so much. Holy smokes. I really hope you give this home-style chicken noodle soup recipe a try in your kitchen and it helps you feel like a success at dinner time. You can find the full printable recipe on momsdinner.com. Just search up chicken noodle soup, or I will put a link in the description box for the full printable recipe. Join us next Tuesday for another dinner recipe that you can get on the table. And until then, have a wonderful week ahead. See ya.